nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to 420.
You've done this 1,000 times. And the show must go on. You've got to give the people what they want. Piece of cake.
Man, I'm just sitting back watching the pussification of this whole country. Can't say this, I can't say that. Shit, what the fuck can I say? When did y'all become so fucking sensitive, man? Lighten up. I'm just here to entertain you. And if that triggers you, well, then you're a pussy. Listen, it's a cold world, easier to play this shit safe. Knowing how the world gon' judge you if you make a mistake. These miserable fucking people so saturated with hate, they can't wait to pile it on someone else's plate. Like if I'm right with every word except for one in the song, they'll only focus on and judge me for the one that was wrong. Cancel this, cancel that, fucking welcome to America. The home of specializing in assassinating character. I hate it, I prefer going in guns blazing, annihilating anyone who's testing my patience. Ain't no room for pussyfooting in the rap game, and I'm drawn to controversy like a moth to a flame. And you little snowflakes better quit your complaining. Not racist, I'm just not too big on the Asians. Shit, I'm kidding you, idiot, but with no hesitation. These fuckers run with it and post it up on Twitter while saying that Webby's some sort of bigot for fucking making a joke. You're not woke, you're just sensitive and quick to provoke. So I'd like to invite you to suck my dick till you choke. Deep throat, pow pow, got your bitch in my scope. Everyone that I'm seeing is looking pussy as fuck. Go and cry about shit without even looking it up. So I'd like to thank my bullies all for making me tough, because it's looking like y'all ain't get bullied enough. Yeah, I came to drop bombs like Flex and I'm gone, I'm all raw. So try not to be so sensitive, y'all. If I'm not pissing you off, then I'm pissing you on. If you're not triggered at all, then I'm spitting it wrong. Because I came to drop bombs like Flex and I'm gone, I'm all raw. So try not to be so sensitive, y'all. If I'm not pissing you off, then I'm pissing you on. If you're not triggered at all, then I'm spitting it wrong. Easy does it, Webby, try to keep that temper in check. I'm going off like Terminator in the metal detector. Hit him with the blur like my memory gets from blowing benzos while I'm drinking. Yeah, I tend to forget, a devil's reject. Ever since a kid I've been a loser, but I dealt with it. It's called developing a sense of humor. Learn to laugh a little bit, this shit is good for your health. If you can't take a joke, you need to take a look at yourself. Shit, if I didn't have the haters, then I would probably withdraw. Shit, dog, honestly, I would probably miss y'all. Haters, really please, promise me you'll never quit, y'all. Here, I'll make fun of me with y'all. Here's my impression of Webby, no one's doper than me. I got the hairline of someone that's 10 years older than me. Sitting dissing politicians like I'm fucking sport fishing. Say I fucked their wives and daughters when I obviously didn't. And I'm pale year-round, summertime or deep winter. And I chew with my mouth open when I eat dinner. My liver has put up with plenty of cheap liquor and more drugs in a lifetime than Keith Richards. I used to work out, shit, I really was buff. Then I stopped working out, now I'm skinny as fuck. Like so skinny, when the wind blows hard I lose balance. So skinny, looking like I won a tapeworm challenge. It ain't that hard to laugh a bit at your own expense. Fucking just relax and shit. Smoke a joint, eat a Xanax, you bitch. This uptight bullshit's what I've had it with. If you're still mad after what you've listened to, then that's just a bitch in you. Suck a dick or two, ain't no fixing you. Fake woke can't take a gay joke. People that I'm spitting to, I am here to trigger you. Yeah, I came to drop bombs like Flex and I'm gone, I'm all raw. So try not to be so sensitive, y'all. If I'm not pissing you off, then I'm pissing you on. If you're not triggered at all, then I'm spitting it wrong. Fucking pussy.
Trigger!
Forget about it, Frankie.
Serve, serve, serve. Serve, serve, serve. Bow wow run, he's my mighty puppy. Sir bow wow run, he's my mighty puppy. Sir bow wow run, he's my mighty puppy. Sir bow wow. Mud.
Wait.
What are we gonna do tonight, Singe Man?
The same thing we do every night, Boston Ray. Try to take over the world.
You slept.
self-destruct system has been activated. Option to override self-destruct expires in 10 minutes.
The world is flat. The world is flat.
I'm here to ring the alarm with my puppet like charm, straight from the barn. I'm talking about Flat Earth Farms, cause most don't know. They think we live on a globe, a ball that floats. So listen and take notes, and take it to a higher plane. Imagine yourself in all it contains, in all its glory, and Flat Earth Farms can take you there. Open your mind outside the box. No more staring at NASA's Photoshop. No more moon landings, no line to ya. No more people standing backwards in Australia. Just facts and pure truth, planning straight to the roots. Flat Earth Farms help you understand. A magical place on a wondrous land.
The world is flat, and that's a fact. Tell your friends next time you chat. Let them know a ball ain't that. Let's stay playing with the baseball bat. Cause we coming at the barn, a higher place, the Flat Earth Farm.
When you've grown marijuana since 1873, you learn a few things about pride, about standards, about only growing the highest quality plants, watered by pure Rocky Mountain streams. Some say Americans can't grow good marijuana anymore. We say, where you been, Rabbi? Kush, the banquet weed.
Oh, shit. L.I., you on that cowboy shit.
Yup. You could call me John Wayne, but no chaps on. Poison Ivy Waddy, yeah, I'm trying to get my rash on. Broken glass, yeah, I'm trying to get my smash on. Sound like you in the dump, trying to get your trash on. Dub dot, hot dot, double Z problem. If your man playing, no coming to me, stop him. My 40 cal chop him. Next to bricks, I cop him. Spaghetti boy, step up to that Mike Whitey sauce him.
Any MC going up against me, automatically becomes deceased. I kill everything I touch like the Reaper. Running on the bus, just me, no us, call it Jeepers Creepers. Hit the sleep and let them permanently count sheep. Only bar 6, your whole team jumping shit. And like the bitch jump, dick the nigga everywhere. Homie, you don't read the fuck with nigga, I ain't never care. 1, 2, 3, 4, crack. Another body left on the floor. And I don't think he ever coming back. Nope. And I don't think he ever coming back. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, crack. Another body left on the floor. And I don't think he ever coming back. Nope. And I don't think he ever coming back. No,
I'll leave a workhorse quitting. Even my worst fitting's better than your most pre-rehearsed verse written. I'm on that old West shit, young and restless, no peace. Just my Glock and my necklace. I'm on that beat shit, official street shit. What that Mossberg do?
Knock him out their feet quick.
I ain't a cowboy, but I'm a real rider. I drop 4 cases cause I ain't a fair fighter.
Y'all don't really want me crazy. Knows whether or not the shawty raised. But you spit the hardest flames. It's cause probably why I got your mommy in the lobby laid. Calling me Johnny Blaze. I'm like, nah lady, first name R baby. But you can call me Johnny Cage. Cause when the shawty blaze, it only be all rap. Straight up on the combat. And trust me, you don't really want that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another body left on the floor. And I don't think he ever coming back. Nope. And I don't think he ever coming back. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another body left on the floor. And I don't think he ever coming back. Nope. And I don't think he ever coming back. Nope.
Bring it, 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 bring it. All of y'all can bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it on, bring it on. All of y'all can bring it to me. If there's any conflict, y'all are fucking fake like a Cinemax porn flick. Even if you're real, I'm much realer. I don't act like a thug killer, drug dealer. I do act like that, cause with raps, I'm serving y'all cats and crack, and that's a fact. So if you think your raps are nice, I'ma have to bite. Not as in coffee, but just to please my appetite, cause I'm hungry. So I eat you like your munchies, treat you like your lunch meat. Feed me more, I want feed. Bunch of clowns, I got problems with bozos. Not to mention their clothes tighter than homos. Type of dudes who start fights, they'll run away. Talking about they coming with a gun on another day. I'll be ready for you guys as true, with the eyes of Snoop standing. So when you say it's time to shoot, I'm saying bring it, bring it.
How you gonna move?
Bring it.
What you gonna do?
Y'all won't win that battle and you won't win the war. So bring it. Bring it.
How you gonna move?
CG.
What you gonna
bring it on?
Shit. Bring your
bring
whole
it on.
Nigga, bring your
All
whole
of y'all can bring it to me. If it's beef, be my waiter. Cause believe me, you're way underneath my radar. So let me give you a tip. Come at me with full courses. And while you finish it up, I'll eat my first course. Get nothing. Zip. Zero. Just an interference in my quest to get the Nero. And I ain't never scared, yo. Like bone crusher. So what the fuck you wanna do? Let's go, sucker. Bring it on. I ain't scared. See me prick. Yes, bring it on. Like that cheerleading flag. Beefing with sweethearts. And I'm not a fan. I'll beat the sweet out of you like a pinata, man. Da-da, damn. That's all I gotta say. But Reggie standing next to me like
Sock passe.
Go ahead, come at me with a live grenade. I'll be smiling while you're in a violent rage and saying bring it, bring it.
So what you gonna do?
Bring it, bring it.
Shit, bring your whole crew.
Bring it, bring it.
How you gonna move?
Bring it, bring it. All of y'all can bring it, bring it.
So what you gonna do?
Bring it, bring it.
Bring your whole crew.
Bring it on.
Check it. I'm high like Eiffel. I'm so trifle. More than I rest like that 12th disciple. If you wanna test then my set will light you. Ain't gotta raise the text ET, just fight you. Or we might just smite you. Use you, Michael. Now little niggas know Jordans. So I rebox the stock just so the shitty cops couldn't floor them. Uncle Sam later helping hand, but I was melting grand, so I sort of ignored him. Went from corpses on porches to stop to the fortress. About to cop plots for the losses. Shady with the conscience, Brady with the monster. You know we ready for you conscious. Try in the boxes, kinda like lobsters. But it's okay. Be with Miyagi. Choppers.
Bring it, bring it, bring it on. Bring it on. Y'all won't win that battle and you won't win the war. So you bring it, bring it on. To CG, bring it on. Bring it on. All of y'all can bring it, bring it.
Young L came.
Bring it, bring it.
Osama came.
Bring it, bring it.
Obama came.
Bring it, bring it. Anybody can bring it, bring it.
And Reggie gon' bring it.
bring it. You know, bring it, bring it.
Young bring it on, bring it. And
oh, yo, bring it.
Boston, go bring it. Dorchester, go bring it. HP, go bring it. Rosendale, go bring it. West Roxbury, go bring it. All the new women, go bring it. We gon' bring it. Bring it. What we got? Gee Williker, CG!
What's the matter, Whitey?
Well, I think it's time to record.
Oh my God, you're right! Up to the LIU Mobile!
Yeah! Let's go. This, that, 617 shit. This, that, 617 shit. This is that. 617 shit, 617 shit, 3 out.
People in the crowd, get up, get loud, jump up around, we light it up, then we burn it down. We gonna be the ones to do what it do. Come over with a gun at you when you cruelly be running as I'm coming, be something as I'm coming at you, and a few you do. All dogs, Beantown representatives, born in 1990, I've been repping this ever since. Soft spin, patch spin, we repping Celtics. We get angry if we don't win, cause we selfish. This is CG. This is
Oblate.
This is Whitey. This is Sweat. And this is our stage. Don't try to front like you ain't like it. You can't fight it. So get with the movement and stay quiet.
This, that, 617 shit. This, that, 617 shit. This is that. 617 shit. 617 shit. 3 out.
Welcome to the city of champions. We wear all black fitted dog jeans and the champions. Super hood, I'm feeling super good. Just back the bitch that was super bad. I think it's cause she knew I get that stupid bread. And if you want you some, then you better have that super head. No Corinne Stevens, I beat a skeeter like I'm Skeeter, then I'm leaving off to another meeting, sitting at the table, discussing who's eating and why this plate bigger than mine. I ain't hating, no, I'm saying mine needs to be double its size. So I cash in my 9 to 5 to double up.
This, that, 617 shit. This, that, 617 shit. This is that. 617 shit, 617 shit, 3 out. With a swagger, cause I grew up in this city. Going to the top and I'm taking you all with me. Never been afraid to do what I gotta do. I got a lot of loot, but it's not for you. Trying to make a move and I chop your crew. I'll show you exactly what the chopper do. This one is for you and everybody in the beam. The illest invisible rapper that you never seen. My mother said become your dream. Now people say, Wizzy, you the best. Yeah, I see what they mean. God told me this is what I was made for. You don't want your chance to shine, fine. Then let me take yours. Hustler by nature, rapper by choice. So if you feel my music, make some motherfucking noise. This, that, 617 shit. This, that, 617 shit. This is that. 617 shit, 617 shit, 3 out. Now throw your 3s out, throw your 3s out. Now throw your 3s out, throw your 3s out. Now throw your 3s out, throw your 3s out. Now throw your 3s out. Let's go.
LIU out here, Let's get it. You already know. Sabe,
And my smoke on. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started.
Jump around, then lean back, yo, like you saw House of Pain and in walk back, yo. Fuck Sam Adams raps, yo. I'm performing this for his album's release. I'm an asshole. The most ballsy, most crunk, and most drunk. Dude in here, leave your crew in fear, cause I'm no punk. I act upon emotion, and liquor makes me emotional. Pouring more into my cup, although it's overflow. You don't know the drunken monkey style, let me show you. Then I'll leave you people all running like a no-suit. You really out here saying you Boston's boy, you must be nuts on the inside like almond joy. But I'm the most ruthless, rude, abusive dude. Hard to figure out like a Rubik's Cube. I just do whatever, whenever I wanna, man. These clowns got me failing AC, cause I'm not a fan. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started.
I walked in with a bottle trying to party hard. I'm trying to turn this crib into motherfucking Mardi Gras. Or I'll be in the bar, copping mixed drinks. Gold slide to get the shots is what the kids drink. What you clowns ain't trying to go shop for shop. He got a stomach that's as hard as a fucking rock. So I'm chugging brews like some dudes in bed fest. Landfill shit, drinking beers is what I do best. Yeah, I'm partying with a lot of friends. And I'm hoping that tonight it'll never end. We're doing keg stands, we're getting insane. Some drunk kid is running around in a pair of Hanes. We're playing drinking games, Kings and Babe Ruth. Trying to chug 8 beers out of Dot's booth. The music's banging loud, I got the crowd moving. We're partying, everybody show them how we do it.
Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Pop bottles, get retarded. We here to have a good time. Let's get this party started.
Okay.
Singe Man. Are you there? We're live, I think. Yeah, we are. We're definitely live. I'm down in the decontamination. What's going on?
Is everybody safe now? I was worried. I was really worried about everybody. Everybody safe?
I think so.
We're all safe now?
Well,
hey, is everybody safe?
I'm in the agency. Hold on.
How's everybody in chat? You all safe right now? Worried about you.
Well, they
hey, Walmart!
They gave me Suzanne.
I watched CNN today. Did you watch it? You look like you watched CNN today. Good job. That's good.
No. Suzanne made me come down here to the vacuum chamber, and I have to wear the helmet so my head doesn't get crushed in.
Everybody should do it these days. It's very dangerous.
This is the
dangerous world.
This is the agency vacuum chamber.
This is standard issue for an agent like me out here on the road.
I have to wear this helmet
realm,
down here, or this vacuum chamber will suck my face apart.
Yeah, this is part of my agent kit. I'll show you my agent kit someday. I'll bring it on when I'm allowed to show. I have a good agent kit. All kinds of living devices and basic paraphernalia of an agent. The helmet, the gas mask, the armor, yeah, you know. Fish and chips, yeah, sometimes you have those.
I think this one.
Do you feel safe? Do you feel safe right now?
Is it from
Feel
NASA?
safe?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's official. This
Nice,
one's real.
that's sweet.
This one's
Very
real.
safe. All right.
This one's real.
Very, very good. I'm feeling very happy. And what about you, Mr. Pooh? Mr. Pooh?
I don't know. I can't hear you or breathe in this thing.
Okay, can you hear me, chat? I got my computer.
I
You'll be able to hear me.
think it's working though. I think it's protecting me against the vacuum down here. I'm scared of vacuums. I'm scared of vacuums, so I wear the helmet.
I'm a pleasant voice from an unpleasant
Trinity.
emoji.
Yeah.
I'm a pleasant voice from an unpleasant poop emoji.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a pleasant voice from an unpleasant poop emoji.
Did you know that?
Wow.
Hi, I'm poop emoji.
Hi, poop emoji. I gotta take this fucking ridiculous. I'm all right.
Hi, Boston Ray.
Blessings to Mr. Anderson. I hope you're safe over there, and I hope you watch CNN today. See what we haven't. See my scud. Oh, my scud is going to speed up a bit. You know, we had an attack here earlier. Remember CNN?
Yeah.
We're reenacting the CNN. Yeah, here we go. Woohoo! Watch out. They're everywhere. Someone in to get you.
Nancy! Do you got that PDF done yet? You've had 3 days now. Hurry up.
Oh, are you safe over there? Let me do a test of my area. It might be safe. Let's see. Yeah, it appears like it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I think it's passed. I think it passed. I'm feeling better. I feel safe now. It was really everywhere for a while there. Woo, that was close. Gotta keep these handy, everybody. You never know. My hazmat suit's hanging up over there, but it wasn't that bad yet. If I go outside, I'll have to put that on, but it's okay. Trinity 88, welcome Trinity 88. You know this. Watch what happens when I do this. Cameras react funny to this. Watch.
All right. Well, while my phone is dead.
What? Boom.
I'm trying to give. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get it going.
Rye Rush. Trinity 88. Stu, Mr. Anderson. V, which is 5. Gary Feltham. Who I picture Gary Feltham would be the owner of a fine clothing line. Fine Clothing by Gary Feltham. Okay, Trinity 88. Woohoo, Kim Ray! And probably others. Aaron, and somewhere out there is probably LA Young is probably watching. Yeah.
Jesus,
Random fans probably watching.
I'm sorry.
Party on, Wayne. Party on, Wayne
Gary,
and Waynette.
the flu, though. You probably just have
Party
the flu.
on, Wayne. And what else did you have? There's only the flu. And Waynette. See what it says. See if it says it right. Oh, what's he gonna say now?
Party on Wayne's and Waynettes.
Waynettes. It's Waynette. Let's see if I can go Wayne.
Party on Wayne's and Waynettes.
There you go. Okay, over here working on. So I'm done with this right now. Now I'm on to another art.
Real quick before I get into what I was going to get into. Last night we played Trinity's video. Sub his channel. That was him, right? That's his channel. That was the video we played last night. He does a good job. Trinity. I mean, he's been around a lot longer than me, but I've done.
He has a very good attitude.
I do the boots on the ground mud flood stuff too, and I'm not like my video's always shaky. I don't cover it as good as you. You do better than me, but good job. I enjoy it. I enjoy watching your mud flood investigations because you know a lot. The movie Terrain is free on Bitch. The movie Terrain.
I can't really work right now. I don't feel like clicking and concentrating on the part right now.
Yeah, well, I got something good for us to watch. Don't worry, guys. Even though, you guys will enjoy.
Kind of tired tonight. I'm always tired by this time.
Yeah, I'm always tired too. That's why I kind of keep it low key. Some nights I have people on, but lately my channels have been getting attacked so bad that I can't even have people on. I can't even have people on right now. I'll wait until my strike's way down, and then we'll have people on saying whatever they want. All right.
What would they want to say that would be? I don't understand. I'm kidding.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Get it. It's not anybody. It's YouTube's fault. It's YouTube's fault.
I know. I'm being sarcastic. I am the sarcastic voice. Oh wait, here we see.
Okay. All right. Let's check this out.
I got a comment, my favorite in a long time. The more I watch your newer short videos, the more they all support your LHFE 2.3 video, where Victor Hugo talks about how the people of his time were destroying the old buildings. They had the technology to build imitations, which you are demonstrating now in your short videos. Spot on. Thank you. LHFE 2.3, where I discuss Victor Hugo, was my way in to presenting my revised thesis. And I planned to ease things as I went, slowly debunking my previous claims and refining my arguments. But it just was not feasible in terms of writing. The form was too much, so I crashed it down. I think it's a good time to present my revised hypothesis in a series of short videos. Plot. This hypothesis relies on the viewer understanding that structures between the medieval era to the present day were very possible for those in the history books to build. By accepting this, it opens up a whole new avenue of investigation in terms of historical erasure and fabrication. A quick caveat, I do acknowledge that there are impossible structures by what the narrative tells us. This is primarily the megalithic stuff, the pyramids, Baalbek, etc. I will reference these when appropriate, but they are slightly outside the scope of my current research. My focus is on the end of the Middle Ages, where I think a great population reset occurred, and what I call the Great Transition, or Age of Transition, the period from 1400 to the 20th century. So let's start with the broader, more general plot. It most likely will not make immediate sense, but I will be following up with further short videos that explore aspects of it in more detail. So do not take it as truth. My objective is to try and turn the hypothesis into a theory, with a lot of supporting evidence in LLG and these short videos. If I need to make future adjustments and refinements to the thesis, then I will. The Middle Ages came to a tumultuous end with deliberately planned famine, plague, revolt, and war. The world fell into temporary darkness at the hands of one of the most fatal depopulation events in history. It is estimated that the Black Death alone killed over half of the European and North African population, and over a third of the Middle East. It may have been more. Much of the social, economic, and technological progression achieved in the Middle Ages suffered tremendously and came to a halt. In other words, there was a great population reset. The word reset means to return to a former condition. But in that darkness, a light began to stir and shine brighter and brighter.
Now you can hear me. This audio thing cable sucks. I don't know. Maybe I should just tape it in. Let's see who we got here. Let's give a shout out. Stu Mr. Anderson. Random Fan. Bosch Painting. Gary Feltham. Trinity. Gary Thorso. Anybody else? Let's see. Machine Head 69. Nightbot. Random Fan. Aaron. What's up, Aaron? How you doing? Dude, Aaron's been here since the beginning, dude. I was watching like the first, some of the first episodes I did, and Aaron was there. And I was like, oh, that's him. Rye Russ. Kim Ray. Kim Ray's pretty much been here since the beginning too. Jenny. She's always here to help. Did I miss Rye Russ? Rye Russ. Always smoking the Kush. Who else do we got? Oh, did I miss? If I missed you, I'm sorry. I'm looking here. There's a ton of people. I'm not like cherry picking. Scott Levelrealm. One of the, maybe, probably the best drummer in the community. I don't know. Maybe one of them. There's a lot of good drummers. Music isn't a competition, Scott. But you know what I mean? Oh shit. Scott drums constantly drums. Even Scott broke his steering wheel drumming on the steering wheel. Okay? That's how serious Scott is. Andrew Havadick. What's up, my man? All right. Who else we got? Dr. Bass Ackwards. Wow, we have a lot of people. What do we got? 14. It says we got 14 people, but yet I named off like 30 already and put them on the screen too. Whatever. People come and go, I guess. And that doesn't even count my channels that are in here. You know what I'm saying? Like all the channels that I got in here and many more. So we're doing fine over here on Late Night Live. All right, let's get back to the video. Let's get back to the presentation. Oh, Trinity. Well, yeah, whatever. Did I give you a shout out? I think I did. I don't think he's talking to me. He's probably talking to someone else. Oh yeah, you got me from Salem Fair Man. I was on Salem Fair Man last Friday. Did you see? You were there probably. The Friday night, the Christmas special we did with Jen and everybody in Shapu. It's good. It's up on his channel. I was gonna bootleg it from him, but I'll let him get the views for a while. He'll probably get more views on my channel. I'm just joking. He gets way more views than me.
Renaissance means rise again, or born again. Humanity began to recover, but something had forever changed. They did not repair and restore what was lost, but began to slowly build back better, in a very different direction. A direction that would dictate the course of history until the present day. A brave new age began, and the old medieval world began to fall slowly into obscurity. Why? Because during the traumatic upheaval at the end of the Middle Ages, an entity, a shadow syndicate, or synarchy if you will, rose again, seized power, and began implementing a plan that is still in action today. This entity has one goal: world domination. It is a malignant force, serving only itself and its agenda. It is the empire above all empires, Shadow Rome. It moves very slow and cunning like a snake, often hidden, shedding its skin wherever it goes. The characters that make up the anatomy of this entity, this creature, are not easily identified, but it does have a very distinctive modus operandi. It operates by infiltrating nation states. It uses large-scale staged events to further its agenda. It has orchestrated these events since the end of the Middle Ages, and continues to do so today. Every time it does, the plan slowly advances.
Yeah, Dave, I've been doing this Mudflood research for a while now on this channel. I dedicated a whole channel to the Mudflood, and I've been looking into the meltology stuff too now.
One of its key,
but I still love the Mudflood. I still love the Mudflood stuff the most.
Trademarks is its religion, its worship of the light in all forms, especially the celestial light. Sometimes it will stage events that unfold like a human dramatization and personification of the movements of the celestial light above us. The eclipse is its crowning chess move. It will plunge the world into darkness. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Only to then bring back the light, the saviors and their solutions that society embraces with open arms. Each time this happens, this entity slowly advances its agenda. When this entity initially rose to power, it had successfully plunged medieval society into the dark.
Yeah, Vibes of Cosmos, we play that all the time. We look at the moon map. I believe in the moon map. I think actually, Dave, I've been saying lately that the moon map is now my official map. That's the map that I use to get to the store, to measure my distance if I have to drive on the highway anywhere. I don't drive, but You know what I mean? If I'm taking a trip, I use the moon map now. I don't rely on any other maps.
Famine and plague, and then restored the light with the Renaissance. It was one of the biggest dark to light eclipse moves in history, a great population reset. Humanity has been under the might and rule of this entity and its colonial prowess since then. The Renaissance marked the beginning of the Age of Transition, where the world shifted into modernity. For the first 400 years of this entity's reign, its primary goal was the implementation of globalization and in turn globalism, by connecting the world through trade, technology, religion, science, and so on. It achieved this through infiltration, colonialism, slavery, industrialization, and war. Not everyone accepts change. Competitors for power arise. This entity had to protect itself and conquer with military and imperial force. It had to divide and conquer. It devised new methods of defense and attack. What is a star? Celestial light. Who worships the light? Your masters. Libertas, the sole invictus. Its other central primary objective was to erase and replace the history of the old medieval world. And one of the key ways it achieved this was by using architecture as a weapon of historical erasure. During the Renaissance, this entity devised a new style of architecture, named the New Classical. It did this by extracting stylistic elements of European Romanesque, Gothic, Middle Eastern, and Moorish architecture, and fusing them together. It has concealed this, and I plan to show you how. This entity then used this new classical style and pseudo-stonemasonry construction techniques to begin replacing the old medieval world, and in many instances, fabricating history. And it did so at a rapid pace. It began in Florence, and then spread across Europe, and then the rest of the world. If architecture ever held an alternative or esoteric function, it was lost and suppressed here during the Renaissance. If America has a greater hidden history, it was lost here. If Britain has a greater hidden history, it was lost here. This entity deliberately delayed the Industrial Revolution by 300 to 400 years, perhaps out of a fear of losing its position of power, perhaps to first let the population recover from the Black Death. The technology of the Industrial Revolution and its powerful potential did exist prior to the 1700s, but in a different form. When it was ready, this entity unleashed the industrial technology of steam power and used it to further strengthen its grip over the world through globalization and overt colonialism. It also uses technology to finalize its editing and erasure of medieval history. It continued to use the New Classical style as a weapon of erasure, demolishing old sites and replacing them in this style. But it also seized upon the Gothic style to finalize its agenda. This was primarily undertaken through two operations, the Victorian Restoration and the Gothic Revival. The first consisted of restoring and thus editing, destroying and replacing most of the remaining medieval structures in Europe. The second operation, the Gothic Revival, worked by spreading the Gothic style in the form of new structures all over the world. Why? To instill and solidify in the minds of contemporary and future generations a preconception of what the medieval world looked like. It also used a New Classical and Gothic Revival as a means of cultural colonialism, subjugating entire nations to its own cultural expression, changing their religion, histories, education, mythology, and so on. This does not belong in India. The classical here does not belong in Singapore. It does not reflect their national expression. Here they are building a huge classical edifice in South Africa.
Thanks, Gary.
Does this carry an African cultural inflection? Does it?
If you guys really like the show, the best thing you guys could do for me is share it. Like, put it in your community section when I'm live. Tell people about it. Put links for like different ones in people's chats if you find a good one. You know, because YouTube is shadow banning me, like really bad. Like my channel should be a lot bigger than it is. Don't you agree? By now, all the work I do. I had one channel they took away already. Like, so yeah, the best thing you could do if you like my channel is just spread it around and tell people about it and get people to sub it, because that's what we need. We need subs. We have a lot of subs, but we need more. And we have like three or four different channels. And Singe Man has a channel called Late Night Live, and we some nights when on my big channel when I'm down, we go on the little channels or we go on Odyssey. But all the links for everything Nightbot is putting in, they're in the description. They're all in the description of the video.
Long in Britain. What about America? Eradicating heritage characterizes this entire period. The new classical is the architectural expression of this globalist entity and its colonial monomania. Does this mean every classical or Gothic structure built during the...
And for those of you that might be new to YouTube that don't know what the description is, it's the box underneath the video with the title in it. You press on it, okay? There's a box underneath the video while it's playing with the title. You press on the title and it'll open up and you'll see a bunch of links.
The age of transition served the agenda to erase what came before. No, but a big portion of them did. The builders, the brickmakers, the stonemasons, the decorators, the carpenters, the laborers themselves were some of the most talented, hard-working, and incredible artists of all time. They were our ancestors, and their legacy is immortalized in these structures. Men, women, and children. Without a very sly and sinister form of child slavery, there would have been no industrial revolution. Empires are built on the backs of slaves.
Yeah.
The workers, both free and enslaved, were the muscle and talent. The Brunelleschis, the Palladios, the Wrens, the Gilbert Scotts. These were the visionary directors, the governing hands that ensured structures were executed to certain specifications.
Wow.
Ensuring that when they replaced or restored whatever
they
was
all
left
look like
of the
Masons.
medieval world, that nothing remained that could betray their master's liberal rewriting of its history. This goal was achieved at the end of the 19th century, with developments in artificial and mass-produced templated stone. I think this is why we do not build like this today. We can do it, and sometimes an incredible cathedral or mosque will go up. But traditional architecture served its function, replacing what came before, or as Victor Hugo said, as he lamented the way the new classical had replaced his old medieval Paris. We wish to erase it all fully from our history. In April of 2019, Notre Dame Cathedral caught fire and burned for hours. It marked the 666th year since the Black Death ended, a fitting anniversary. It also marked the beginning of the next phase of this entity's plan. We are living through that right now. It looks like a fourth industrial revolution is coming. That's the plot. So there is continuity with this episode, but it's not compatible with the Tartaria impossible structures hypothesis. My current research is focused on locating moments of significant change and potential historical erasure in the age of transition, which I will present on and try to evidence in these two playlists. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate with specific examples some different ways of exploring architecture, historical crisis events, and historical fabrication in light of this hypothesis. Keep well and have a good day.
ICFM.
Yeah, go give a shout out, Singe. Go ahead. Are you there? Sailing Fair Man's here. What up? How you doing?
What? Oh yeah, I'm just running back and forth to my computer. I was
talking to Sailing Fair Man. How you doing, Sailing Fair Man?
Machine Head came in since I gave a shout out.
Nice. I got more on this topic. I need to take a breather. So hold on one second. You guys hold on one second. All right. Everybody can wait. Nobody's going to sleep on the late night, right? I mean, nobody's sleeping.
Not yet. Hey, you get this joke yet? Morgan, Isabella Live 2.0.
Hold on.
You slept.
Warning, the self-destruct system has been activated. Option to override self-destruct expires in 10 minutes.
All right, give me a second. I'll be right back. I'm taking a quick 2-minute break.
Okay. Okay. You gonna put something on? Oh, okay, that's good. Or I could just read him a short story.
I'm walking through that building and the building's brick. The children sick, the nuns have sold up cunts of priests are walking with their killing stick. My father's just a little boy crying in his bed. My mother's staring at the brains blown out the back of her father's head. How hard is it? How hard is it to trip out in this mess? When my heart has just been ripped out of my chest. I am not no bitch, I scream. Want no part of what this dream. Am I really just imagining? Can my eyes touch what I'm seeing? I'm a screwed up human being screwed up, chewed up pills. Told you not to shoot up, Mike. I watch you shoot up still. Told you not to load that gun. Watch you shoot that still. I do not want that in this nightmare. No, not that. That's too for real. God, I thought you tooth and nail, but you made me go through all of this. Now I have to call you just to stop this alcoholic tick. I'm a ticking time bomb, and you could kill a donkey with just half the shit that I'm on. It's time to
shut the door in this room right here. I've had my eye on. Let's move down the hallway further. I can't see them raping my mom. Back in Catholic school, acid dripping with my tie on. The walls inside my house were not the ones to be a fly on. My face is looking older, no shoulder to cry on. This place is getting colder. I just want a bed to die on. I should have died much younger. I'm drowning underwater, old enough to see my son. I was too young to meet my daughter. The fetus has a spirit. I hear it from a bassinet. It's empty, but I keep looking at it every time I'm passing it. What the fuck you laughing at? Have a little sympathy, some empathy. You bastards always acting incompassionate. I'm basking in my passage, an assassin. This assassin got my future by the throat with a butcher knife and slashing it. Robbed from my emotions, now they're back to take the last of it. My childhood was stolen from me. Fuck it, now I'm trapped.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I see some fucked up things. Go to sleep. I'm awake. Wake up. Go to sleep. Can't tell the difference between the two. Wake up.
The devil, here he comes, lurking in the drums, working with the music, he's a serpent with his tongue. Snake up in the grass, swift as merciless as I am none, nobody else, no one. Percocets and rum, circle him and run. The lion's out his cage and the circus isn't done. It's only just begun, I'm in a dark place. There's something in my blood, it's making my heart race. I think I'm going crazy, keep thinking people wanna grave me, body me, probably me. This insanity is gonna swallow me. Forget it, you don't understand, man, you don't follow me. Some people wanna see me dead. That's why I keep a 45 under my bed. There's no sun, just rain and thunder instead. Look what this sick world has done to my head. Do you see what I see when you go to sleep? Devils in your head, angels underneath the sheets. Voices of apocalypse entangled in your speech. There's a war, ain't nobody angling for peace. Do you hear what I hear when you go to sleep? Devils in your head, angels underneath the sheets. Voices of apocalypse entangled in your speech. There's a war, ain't nobody angling for peace. My burgundy economy, murdered by your mommy. 500 for the suction up in her dirty punani. Whole world washed away, 30 tsunamis. Buildings knocked from the force of 32 armies. Apocalypse is coming, rocket ships are humming. Gangsta motherfuckers who are popping clips and gunning. Crackheads rolling on you, get your pocketbooks and run them. So are we to believe that this Jesus is coming? The people want religion, their religion's money. It isn't funny, liquor got me sick to my tummy. Dunny, look around, don't be a dummy. Probably never see it if you don't see it from me. Some believe we all believe. This verse is a bite, cause it's bad every day, but it's worse in the night. That's why I stay high and I curse in the mics. Cause death is the only thing certain in life. Do you see what I see when you go to sleep? Devils in your head, angels underneath the sheets. Voices of apocalypse entangled in your speech. There's a war, ain't nobody angling for peace. Do you hear what I hear when you go to sleep? Devils in your head, angels underneath the sheets. Voices of apocalypse entangled in your speech. There's a war, ain't nobody angling for peace. Do you see what I see when you go to sleep? Devils in your head, angels underneath the sheets. Voices of apocalypse entangled in your speech. There's a war, ain't nobody angling for peace. Do you hear what I hear when you go to sleep? Devils in your head, angels underneath the sheets. Voices of apocalypse entangled in your speech. There's a war, ain't nobody angling for peace.
All right, we're back. I needed a 2-second break. You still there, Singe? Or you disappear on me? No? Well, we still have 11 people here. All right. The numbers are wrong anyway. Let me get back to what I was doing. You gotta, this is the type of thing you gotta break up. You can't just watch all 3 of them in a row. You gotta put some music in between. People won't be able to take it. It's just too much, Let me see where it's at. Did I lose it now? Yeah, I probably lost it now. Let me see. Here it is. We didn't even finish it? Thought we did. Maybe we didn't. Yeah. Wasn't it done? Alright, whatever. Alright. Moving along. Not going to waste any time. Not going to stop the show. Just keep it moving. Alright. Keep the chat going. Get everybody thumb it up. Share it out. Spread the word. That's all I care about. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm still here. Just hanging in barely. A little bit.
It's going to play. Hold on. I promise. It should play.
Raiden, are you receiving? We're still here.
How's that possible? The AI was destroyed.
Only GW.
Who are you?
To begin with, we're not what you'd call human. Over the past 200 years, a kind of consciousness formed layer by layer in the crucible of the White House. It's not unlike the way life started in the oceans 4 billion years ago. The White House was our primordial soup, a base of evolution. We are formless. We are the very discipline and morality that Americans invoke so often. How can anyone hope to eliminate us? As long as this nation exists, so will we.
Cut the crap. If you're immortal...
I think a lot of them are grown in test tubes, like Obama.
Why would you take away individual freedoms and censor the net?
Jack, don't be silly.
Don't you know that our plans have your interests, not ours, in mind?
What?
Jack, listen carefully, like a good boy.
Singe, was that you? I heard someone pop in. Check and see who that was.
The mapping of the human genome was completed early this century. As a result, the evolutionary log of the human race lay open to us.
We started with genetic engineering, and in the end, we succeeded in digitizing life itself.
But there are things not covered by genetic information.
What do you mean?
Human memories, ideas, culture, history.
Genes don't contain any record of human history.
Is it something?
Probably, Michael Joshua Lewis. I didn't know. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, but maybe. Yeah, I think so.
That should not be passed on? Should that information be left at the mercy of nature?
We've always kept records of our lives through words, pictures, symbols, from tablets. Books.
Why? What? Hold on. Did you hear? Hey, brother. Hold on. What did you hear, Michael Joshua? Tell me. What did you hear? There's a meetup, January 15th. And I don't know. I don't know nothing about it, Michael Joshua. To be honest with you, I can't say yes or no either way. I have no idea. If there is a meetup and Levelhead gets invited, maybe we'll be there. And if Levelhead's going, I'm going. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, other than that, we have some other things that we're working on too. So it's all good. It's not like it's over. We have a drummer now we're working on. We have a lot of rehearsing to do, a lot of practice to do. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
books.
But not all the information was inherited by later generations. A small percentage of the whole was selected and processed, then passed on. Not unlike genes, really.
That's what history is, Jack.
But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right. You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Create context?
The digital society furthers human flaws and selectively rewards development of convenient half-truths.
Oh yeah, Brian's definitely a good dude. He's smart. Yeah, Gary, I have a PO box. I have an address that you can send me a package. Yeah. You'll have to email me though. Have you emailed me? Have you tried to email me? Because I'll have to email you. I don't just put it out there like that. Yeah. Have you tried to email me yet? I don't know. I don't ever check my emails, but I'll give you an email, Gary.
Just look at the strange juxtapositions of morality around you.
Billions spent on new weapons in order to humanely murder other humans.
Rights of criminals are given more respect than the privacy of their victims.
Although there are people suffering in poverty, huge donations are made to protect endangered species. Everyone grows up being told the same thing.
Be nice to other people.
But beat out the competition.
You're special. Believe in yourself and you will succeed.
But it's obvious from the start that only a few can succeed.
You exercise your right to freedom, and this is the result. All rhetoric to avoid conflict and protect each other from hurt. The untested truths, spun by different interests, continue to churn and accumulate in the sandbox of political correctness and value systems.
Everyone withdraws into their own small gated community, afraid of a larger forum. They stay inside their little ponds, leaking whatever truth suits them into the growing cesspool of society at large.
The different cardinal truths neither clash nor mesh. No one is invalidated, but nobody is right.
Not even natural selection can take place here. The world is being engulfed in truth.
And this is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was released in 2001 and prophesized our current era, in which we find ourselves on the brink of another industrial revolution and in the fog and haze of information warfare. The word truth has become an economy unto itself. It has lost its sovereignty, and we are flooded, day in, day out, 24 hours a day, with seemingly contradictory truths. The next genius move of the entity, to completely destabilize our perception of reality. But a question remains: how did a video game in 2001 predict our current era of social media and digitized information warfare so accurately before Google, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram were invented? The most sensible answer is that the technology of the digital world was developed in secret many years before it was unleashed onto the public. But is that a reasonable hypothesis? Could technology really be developed in secret and subsequently given to the public later under the guise of invention?
No, it already existed. And the controllers
technology
never went anywhere. They've been here.
The ruins of Revo Abbey. The medieval monasteries of Britain suffer from a kind of cliché misrepresentation, a distorted, preconditioned image perpetrated by the entity. We think of monks dressed in wool, living in quiet solitude, toiling in their fields and attending structured prayer. This could not be further from the truth, and it doesn't help that they are all in ruin. Revo was a massive site, including more than 70 outbuildings and covering 100 square miles of Yorkshire. Now only the abbey remains in ruins, but there were many factories in its jurisdiction. And in 1997, archaeologists and geophysicists found something remarkable. They set out to investigate 13th century iron-making techniques, using extremely sophisticated magnetometers and fluxgate gradiometers. What they found, as William Rosen said, was quite a stir in the world of technological history. They found an abundance of residual magnetism around the sun.
If it's a small echo, it must be, I don't know, it must be you. Do you have headphones on? Who else is here?
It must have been love. But I'm on.
Oh, what's up, Friday Saints? I didn't even know it was you.
What up, Gene? That's why I said it.
Oh, all right. You gotta put on headphones while I'm screen sharing because you're causing an echo. Do you have like earbuds or something? Can't hear him. All right. Well, I can't hear him. Can you hear him, Singe? No. Right. I can't even hear myself now. What happened? Hold on a second. No. Is the sound all right? Can everybody hear me? Singe is muted. He's muted. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Site. It suggested that the furnaces in use during the 13th century at just one of the abbey's iron smelters were producing iron at a level of technical sophistication equivalent to that of 18th century Britain. The newspapers at the time declared that King Henry VIII's dissolution and destruction of the monasteries in the 1500s delayed the Industrial Revolution by 2 centuries. But they were producing this level of iron in the 1200s, and Rievaulx is just one site. It's not the largest. Fountains Abbey and Furness Abbey were much bigger. Interesting name that, Furness. There were over 800 monastic sites in Britain alone. Perhaps it was the Black Death in the 1300s that truly delayed the Industrial Revolution. It certainly would have slowed progress. There is an abundance of evidence that suggests these were Christian sites, but Rievaulx is also evidence that these monasteries were much more, and that the Industrial Revolution was on track to happen much earlier in the historical timeline. But a question remains, where did all that technological knowledge and infrastructure go? The monasteries are in ruin, their contents are missing, either stolen, buried, or reused. It would not surprise you if I told you that the internet, in its pre-form, was invented at DARPA, the US Department
I'll be back in a minute.
Projects Agency. It was developed in secret before being launched to the world. But would it surprise you if I told you that the steam engine shared a similar story? In 1639, the government-run Royal Office of Ordnance had been expanded to include part of an ancient estate, Vauxhall. Vauxhall was a place of resort for artists, mechanics, and where experiments and trials of profitable inventions should be carried on. Or as Rosen states, it was a sort of 17th century equivalent of DARPA. The steam engine in question was invented by a military engineer here and developed for the sole purpose of pumping water, a new invention for raising any quantity of water to any height by the help of fire alone. This is in the mid-1600s, a steam engine being developed by the military in secret way before the Industrial Revolution. This is direct evidence that significant technologies have been developed in their pre-forms by military engineers for centuries before our modern era. And given the extremely high levels of magnetism discovered at Rievaulx, it begs the question, is there a connection between the technology lost at the end of the Middle Ages and the military? Where did the engineering infrastructure that was once present at these monastic sites go? Is there a relationship between these sites and steam? Was technology one of the real reasons they were destroyed by Henry, under the guise of politics and a divorce? Were their contents secretly absorbed into the military?
Hey, it's Michael Joshua Lewis. I don't know nothing about airplanes. I don't pay attention to jet fuel. I'm not getting involved in that debate, okay? Michael Joshua Lewis, that's another debate that's going on, just like the other debates that are going on. Why are you always trying to get involved in these debates? Just go smoke a joint, play your guitar, and just sit in the corner and just relax, dude, and go to sleep.
Evidence of secret military involvement in repurposing technology of the Middle Ages is not going to be easy. Documents would have likely been handwritten, archived under top secret, or destroyed. But in my search for evidence, I found something quite different, but more startling. They say the devil's in the detail. There is a slight misconception that architecture, canals, bridges, and so on are the sole...
Michael Joshua, have you ever flown a plane before? You, personally. I'm just wondering. I know a few people who have. I'm not at being a smart ass. I'm asking you as an honest question. Like, have you ever flown? Because, like, I know people that have flown planes. And, like, I've asked them a lot of questions about it. And I don't know. I don't know nothing about the jet engine, all right, or the fuel. But it does seem a little shady.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, go ahead. What? You do? Friday? You're cutting in and out, dude. I can't hear you. I heard you for a second. And now there's no sound. All right, whatever.
Product of civil engineering, of innovative architects, hard-working citizens, and slaves. That's just one part of the story. There is another side to the story that's been greatly overlooked and, in many cases, buried. Since the beginning of the Age of Transition, construction technology and engineering methods were one of the best kept secrets of the European military. In his article on British...
Oh yeah, I used to have a plane that used to run on popcorn too. I used to fly around all the time. I used to fly in my popcorn jet, and it was so cool. I used to go so high. Everyone loved it.
Military engineers in 19th century India, John Weiler states, surprisingly, this significant historical phenomenon has been barely explored by scholars. And I'm not surprised, because as I have come to learn, military engineering from the 1400s...
Nancy! Do they have enough fuel in the jet?
To the 70s.
Ray, tell them don't go chasing jet planes. Stick to them drones and them hot air balloons that you're used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't go chasing jet planes. Yeah, exactly. Stick to the drones and the balloons that you're used to. I know. Hey, Michael Joshua Lewis, I know it's gonna be your way or nothing at all. But I think you're moving too fast.
You're moving way too fast, homie. You're going Mach 1.
Slow it down.
Transfer of technological knowledge. Tacit means silent, unspoken. It means secret. And one of the greatest secrets of the military during the Age of Transition was cement and concrete. It was treated like precious gold. Formal and technical documentation on hydraulic cement doesn't really appear until the 1750s. But as scholar Chandra Mukherjee explains, in 1670, the entrepreneur for the Canal du Midi imported pozzolan from Italy to make hydraulic mortar.
Send it to Dave!
Pozzolan is the key ingredient in Roman concrete. He did so under the recommendation of the French military and...
Send the popcorn to Trinity! Yeah! Tell Suzanne to next day air it. Okay? Thank you.
Engineer Louis-Nicolas de Clerville, and Mukherjee asked a series of vital questions. How was hydraulic mortar remembered and used before its rediscovery?
Make sure he gets that, or the agency over there on that side of the lake will not like it. They'll be in a tiff. They'll be up in arms about it. Keep the relations going.
How did they know where to acquire the ingredients? How did they mix their cement? None of this is documented. It was developed in secret. The technique for using it was not formally recorded, so it was preserved tacitly, not in texts, but in practice. As Mukherjee explains, secrecy was a key virtue.
Nancy, Gary Dorsal, have it hand delivered. Hand deliver it to him. Thank you.
You should have it foot delivered instead of hand delivered.
Foot delivered.
Libraries.
I'll foot the bill.
They get concealed rather than public.
Latter-day Saints will foot the bill.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hold your feet to the fire and get my toes wet at the same time.
Yeah, what he just said. For the foot corn, for Gary Dorsal, for Gary Dorsal.
Clerville protected secrets in his engineering, in his devices for the canal and other structures. Clerville's successor, military engineer Sebastian Vauban, started to have concerns.
Send Domino's a facsimile to send Trinity a pizza. We need to send them a facsimile. Thank you.
Because soldiers live short lives, there was a risk of losing expertise when soldiers died. So he began recording a little of this tacit, secret technological knowledge. One record details a recipe for hydraulic cement. Lime, sand and pozzolan or pulverized brick pass through a baker's basket, 2/5 of lime with 3/5 of sand, and so on. What is striking is that this formula differs from others that scarcely appear in the historical record. It is a novel formula. It was passed on and developed purely in secret. And this practice of secret and advanced military methods of construction did not cease once formal documentation on cement arose during the 1700s. As John Wheeler explains, the 19th century British military engineers were well ahead of their civil engineer countrymen in establishing a significant presence in foreign territories. British engineers moved into foreign lands from the late 1830s, carrying with them the influences of advanced technology. Engineers were active in India from the mid-18th century as a separate branch of the army in the service of the East India Company. British military engineers were well underway in the Caribbean in 1700s, in India, Canada, in Western Australia. During the period 1851 to 1856, Royal Engineers undertook a variety of experiments. In India, experimentation with limes, cements and concrete led the way. They developed magnesia cement, more accurately described as natural hydraulic cement made from magnesia and limestone. They were also setting up a whole range of prefabricated structures. In another article, Todd Charlotte informs us that America's oldest and largest construction agency was the Corps of Engineers. They built...
Whoa, what happened?
Hey, it didn't say core, it said corpse.
Did it?
You see that? It's CORPS, corpse.
But at the bottom it said it?
Yeah, he pronounced it core, but it said corpse.
With great precision.
I'm trying to get your video.
Part of their knowledge also relied on the person-to-person.
That's a trip it's the Switzerland one?
Logical
yeah,
knowledge
we'll show it next.
from industrial.
It's coming.
Again, the transfer of tacit or secret military engineering knowledge. Why is this important? Firstly, this demonstrates that there was a military-industrial complex of engineers dealing in secret with undisclosed and experimental technologies during the age of transition. There is enough evidence to classify this as a theory. The military has always been at the forefront of technological innovation. It goes back to the Republic of Venice at the end of the Middle Ages, where in this department, all types of instruments and machines are constantly being constructed. But the highly secretive manner when it comes to concrete is startling. They were not this careful when it came to the steam engine. That is documented. So why was something like concrete guarded so carefully? And to what extent did they develop and use it? Wouldn't sharing this knowledge benefit all societies immensely? You could argue it was to stop other nation-state militaries from stealing techniques and gaining advantage. But let's hypothesize a bit more. What if all militaries were unknowingly controlled and under the rule and might of the entity? Do you know what you can do with cement and concrete, especially cast concrete? It's common knowledge that the ancient Romans built with brick and concrete. The Pantheon, Colosseum, Temple of Saturn are all concrete. When the empire fell, concrete largely disappeared until the Renaissance, a very peculiar and abrupt period of discontinuity, 1,000 years. Great Pyramid K 2019 provides ample evidence that the Great Pyramid and Sphinx are concrete. This has also been verified from other sources. What if the entity, through its military-industrial complex, began using secret, tacit engineering technology during the Age of Transition to construct and modify many structures? What if some were assigned to earlier dates in the timeline? What if the real history of Rome was deliberately buried and Shadow Rome took its place and, influenced by Egyptian methods of construction, began fabricating these ruins out of artificial stone? Could many ruins be artificial? Have you noticed how many classical sites also feature obelisks? Have you ever heard of the Renaissance book hunters, of Poggio Bracciolini in particular? Was the history of the Imperial Roman Empire rewritten in order for Shadow Rome to assert itself politically, to cultivate fashions among citizens so they blindly began replacing their medieval heritage in the classical style? And to what extent has undocumented artificial stone technology been used to erase, change, and replace structures that came before? But then there is a problem of storing and developing these technologies in secret, especially during the early periods of the Age of Transition. Where would they do that, and with what workforce? What is a fortification? A defensive measure in times of warfare? Yes, but also an impenetrable stronghold, perhaps a place to develop technology in secret, a sanctuary to store the hidden, perhaps even a prison to keep slaves, a formidable fortress that is not easy to enter or escape from. Where did the technological infrastructure of Revo go? A star, light. Who worships the light? And could some of these be connected to pre-Renaissance dumbs, deep underground tunnels? Metal Gear Solid 2, a prophetic warning. I'm sure this entity is reveling in the curious, entertaining the idea that the people of the past could not build these structures. Perhaps it doesn't want us looking too closely and seeing the facades, the cement, the stucco, the scagliola, the code stone, the terracotta. The artificial stone that's everywhere, and how easy they could do it.
Hey, I gotta finish up the paper. We're starting to clock out in 40 minutes, so I'm gonna have to get off. But if you're still on at 10, I'll come back.
All right, I'll save your tunnel thing for when you come back.
Okay, bro.
I have it ready. This was about to end in a few minutes. So.
Okay, I mean you can start it. Huh?
It's military force.
No, because I was gonna put the volume on off of it so we can talk over it and stuff. But
okay.
I'll wait for you to come back.
Okay.
I got another one of these I got to show anyway.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. I'll talk to you soon.
In advance, the next genius move of this entity. It is using digital information warfare to encourage the organism of society to participate in an act of propagating contradictory truths, enticing them into believing everything is a lie, to select what truths are worthy and what are not. It's tricking you into erasing the past. We are in a transitory phase where the book is slowly dying and the automated, digitalized realm of information technology reigns supreme. The book is its rival, and the book is losing. Why consult the library when you can ask Google? Why read and try to discern what's true and what's not when you can just say it's all fake? At first, this entity collected the book in its arms, in its digitalized archives and libraries. I'll keep you safe, it said. But it now overwhelms the individual with contradictory truths, destabilizing their received notions of reality. And perhaps eventually it will begin to slowly change the information in its digitalized archives. This will be the moment it slays its rival for good, and a rewriting of mankind's history will begin. And I think it's done it before. Before the book was the primary chronicle, there existed another great script of mankind's history, a script written in stone. Let me try and show you how it was potentially rewritten. From now on, things are about to become quite worrying.
Yeah. And then we just one more. Hold on. Let me get to it. This one. This was the last part of it.
The thing that's different about
It looked pretty good.
Something is wrong. Something doesn't feel natural. When the entity set out to rewrite history, during the age of transition, controlling and changing the printed word would not be enough. It's one thing to rewrite narrative, but in doing so, the physical world needs to change in line with it. The medieval temples of India. Ruined, decimated, and then restored in the 19th century. Who restored them? The west facade of Lichfield Cathedral, mid-restoration. Today a multitude of cast statues reside in these niches. They tell Britain's history. Were there other statues present here before restoration? Did they tell a different story? The cathedrals, the ships of Theseus, the multitude of changes, making it almost impossible to understand the structure's original language. But the architectural changes are just one kind. There is a lot more to this story of revision and erasure. And before we turn to architecture, we must chase a different rabbit. And it's worth knowing that this burrow goes so deep, it unsettles. Something is wrong, and it's tremendously worrying. In our current digital age, we are bombarded by the constant haze and hum of blue artificial light and unclean electromagnetic frequencies. During our free time, it's good to get away from it all. If you live in a country like England, you are almost spoiled for choice. Vast and sprawling parklands belonging to the country's heritage estates are found in abundance, in their hundreds. Chatsworth, Blenheim, Trentham, Shugborough, Clumber, Woollerton, Weston. It's the weekend and it's good to get away from it all. Out into the parks, a breath of fresh air, a spot of exercise strolling around their vast lakes, a picnic on the grass, back in nature, rejuvenating, reconnecting. But something is wrong. Something doesn't feel natural. And that's because it isn't. For you see, the majority of England's enormous, sprawling country estate gardens and landscapes are not what they seem. They are artificial. Meet Lancelot Brown, otherwise known as Capability Brown. During the 1700s, Brown was responsible for redesigning over 170 of the finest country homes and parklands in the United Kingdom, many of which survive today. Brown's signature style was so influential that a wealth of other landscape designers adopted his vision and continue to redesign hundreds more. Capability Brown has become a household name. His landscaping design changed the country so much that he is now referred to as the Shakespeare of gardens. He was a leading frontman for the entity, setting in motion a fashion that would obliterate England's medieval heritage. Beware of fashions. They are often catalysts for control. And from the 1400s to the 1800s, the classical style of architecture was all the rage. Sneaky classical. It wasn't enough just to be popular, was it? You had to smear your rival. The insipid taste of Gothic ornamentation, these odious monstrosities of an ignorant age, produced by the torrents of barbarism. You see, to encourage society to warm to and embrace a revived classical style, and to use it to replace their medieval heritage, propaganda like this was necessary. Means of disseminating propaganda were limited in the 1700s, but one of the key ways this was achieved was through literature. Literature was the equivalent of our television shows, and it was English poet Alexander Pope who helped ensure that the elite and wealthy wanted to spend their money destroying the majority of medieval estates in the UK and renewing them in the classical style. Pope promoted the idea of following ancient or classical principles in the garden as well as in architecture. In 1711, in his essay on criticism, he wrote, "Learn hence for ancient rules just esteem. To copy nature is to copy them." What does that mean? To copy nature is to copy them. Prior to Capability Brown, the large manorial estates found across Britain were designed and adhered to a formal geometry. The gardens followed precise geometric formations, straight-lined avenues, canals, walled spaces, and tiered terraces, much like we see here at Powys Castle, much like we see here in this plan. It was all about geometry, and they had to go. As one of the propagandists wrote at the time, the natural garden will make his design submit to nature, and not nature to his design. Capability Brown and his contemporaries removed avenues, parterres, terraces, basins, and canals, everything partaking of the old art and geometry from the environs of great houses. In their place, they laid out what we now describe as landscape parks, informal and natural in character, eschewing straight lines and formal geometry. This was Chatsworth House in the 1600s. This is it today. Brownian landscapes can be characterized by the following. They consist of vast, uninterrupted stretches of land, merging the garden with the landscape beyond, punctuated by irregular clumps of woodland and trees. Thousands upon thousands of trees were moved and planted for this effect. An immense amount of earth was moved to smooth the landscape, to create hills, to cover the medieval landscape that existed before it. Straight lines were everywhere replaced by curves and sinuosity. To not obstruct the view of the greater landscape from the house, formal walls were removed and inverted. This is a ha-ha. It is an inverted wall or sunken wall. From the perspective of the house, it gives a continuous, uninterrupted view. And from the outside of the house, it prevents any livestock from entering this area. Finally was the redesign of the landscape's water networks. Their previous geometric formations were replaced with irregular bodies of water. Artificial lakes and serpentine rivers were created instead, curving through the greater landscape like a snake. These characteristics define the Brownian landscape, and his style was immensely influential and was widely copied, so that many hundreds of landscape parks had appeared in England by the time of his death, and still exist today. As this map shows, Brown sites alone covered almost the entirety of the country. You see this landscape, from the clusters of trees, to the smooth gradients of hills, to the woodland borders beyond, and the Serpentine River and Lake. It is all artificial. It was all man-made in the 1700s and carefully constructed to look this way. And I know what you want to say. What? There is no way. But I'm not lying. Longleat and its gardens. In their analysis of Longleat's contracts, David Brown and Tom Williamson tell us that they describe how terraces were to be leveled, land drained, and walls removed, various basins and canals filled in or deformalized, and trees and shrubs planted, and gravel walks laid out. A ha-ha was to be constructed, and modifications made to the existing serpentine water so that its sharp turns were removed. Horace Walpole visited Chatsworth in 1761. His journal tells how they were widening and raising the river and carrying the park onto the side of it and levelling a great deal of ground to show the river. The estate accounts record regular payments to Michael Milliken, Brown's associate, for moving earth. The accounts for Harewood at the time reveal that workmen were engaged to remove a vast hill to the south of the house, and this project went on for 10 years, using 10 to 45 labourers. This is the south view of Harewood. It's man-made. All Brown's landscapes are artificial. For all their supposedly natural appearance, Williamson writes, Brown's lakes were alien impositions on the landscape, often being highly engineered. The process of creating these features was often the largest and most technically demanding of any earthwork operation. A significant body of water would need to be penned, and the level maintained through the year. In some sites, Brown reshaped extensive topography and diverted rivers to create the shape of the water feature. Manipulation of the water was achieved through a variety of means. The most simple method was erecting a dam across a watercourse so that water was ponded back behind it. They would build an earthen embankment dam, dig out sections, and shape the edges of the lake to create an ideal form. Some dams were large, up to 210 meters long. Where the geology for creating lakes was impermeable, a measure of puddling with clay was sometimes required to ensure that the lake held water. This method of rammed clay or puddling creates a watertight material that offsets water permeability and was used in the construction of canals. When there was no natural watercourse available, where rivers were absent, artificial ones would be created by the use of valleys and damming of streams. If such natural resources were lacking, then artificial lakes could be constructed instead. Brown would engineer these artificial lakes to be fed from a number of small streams and springs. Several sites contained a pre-existing water body, typically a canal or fish pond, which Brown expanded and reshaped into long lakes. Often a complex and extensive system of channels and culverts would be created to mitigate any risk of flooding. Brown created drainage systems, parallel sets of underground brick-built barrel drains, to ensure land would not become waterlogged. Damp moory ground, despite its location in the park, was removed. A certain mindset developed. If it could not be so improved, it should be drowned if possible beneath the waters of a lake. I hope you understand the enormity of Brown's activities, the vast amount of earth moving required to achieve this vision. Capability Brown, the Shakespeare of gardens, the great earth mover. It is almost unfathomable, and it characterized a majority of engineering construction throughout the 1700s. Did you know that for outside of a few limited areas, few water bodies of any size actually existed in lowland England at the start of Brown's career? Now there are huge lakes thanks to Brown. He remodeled the entire landscape of lowland England. Something is wrong. Something doesn't feel natural. The great earth mover. And what is earth? Soil. Mud. But how on earth was this the product of one man? How was Brown so capable that he reshaped England like this, especially during the 1700s? The lone entrepreneur and genius visionary is a story, a narrative. This was not the product of one man. That's the lie, the cover story. This was nothing less than a nationwide operation, carried out by hundreds, if not thousands of individuals. Operation Capability Brown. Operation Earth Mover. And before we look at who the Earth Movers were, it is necessary to highlight what the purpose of this operation was. Two objectives, the first of which would cause, as scholar Jonathan Finch has noted, the final obliteration of the earlier medieval manorial complex and its landscape. As Williamson also confirms for us, Brown's landscapes erased all signs of earlier history, as well as all aspects of local character. In some sense, they were earth sculptures. They have caused an archaeological lacuna, devoid of earthwork traces of the pre-park landscape. A lacuna is an empty space, an absence, a missing part. Some remains of the previous medieval landscape are traceable, but most of it has been muted or obliterated. And not only have ecologists, geologists, landscape experts studied Brown's landscapes and confirmed their artificialness, but recent excavations at Harewood House revealed part of the manorial complex and, critically, the earth moving enacted by Brown and his men to erase the site from view. Very little work stone was recovered from the site, indicating it was reused elsewhere on the estate. And the voids which have been left within the building were first filled with large pieces of rubble from the demolished building. The whole site was then covered with a demolition layer of rubble pieces, broken bricks, and a considerable amount of plaster or lime, within which was mixed discarded ceramic and glassware. The demolition layer was spread across the site. Obliterated, erased, our medieval history now a lacuna. Andrew Wild informs us that Brown compromised very little, sometimes destroying ancient avenues of fine trees, magnificent old yew hedges, and even historic mansions. In their place, Brown created scenes of sweeping turf, often covering hundreds of acres. Destroyed, buried. And listen to this. Sometimes the radical nature of Brown's work drew criticism, as in the case of Roche Abbey, where he grasped over the outline of the abbey ruins, leaving only the upright fragments rising from a bowling green lawn. It wasn't enough to remodel pretty much the entire English landscape. They were burying the monasteries that were already in ruin, destroyed 2 centuries before. Williamson really hits home the message of just how enormous and unfathomable this level of historical erasure was when he states, "What is so striking about such endeavours is that until we are told that this great effort has been made, we would often not know it." The second objective of Operation Capability Brown was, in some ways, even darker. To create these vast landscape parks in the 1700s, Parliament passed Enclosure Acts. This meant that suddenly, the land surrounding these sites no longer belonged to the common people. Their rights of access were removed, and fields were enclosed by hedges, walls, or fences. In other words, it enabled the portion of land belonging to the elites to expand and absorb everything around it. The enclosure bills amounted to 6,800,000 acres, or 1/5 of the total area of England. This caused a widespread displacement of people. It affected small-time farmers, villages, and eradicated a whole history of localized culture. Wild informs us that the enclosure involved the removal of communal rights, controls, or ownership over a piece of land, and enabled the total control of a vast acreage, which could be used for grand designs. This gave Brown and others power to change entire villages. For instance, at Milton Abbas, where he was involved with the clearance and rebuilding of the village. In some cases, many were destroyed. A substantial hamlet of Bowood in Wiltshire was removed when the park was laid out and partly drowned beneath the lake. Not only did it allow the powers that be to erase historical sites, but also stifled any chance of the lower classes maintaining localized prosperity. The world was changing. The Industrial Revolution was happening. workforce was needed elsewhere in different industries. It changed so many people's lives and displaced their heritage. And it's still unfathomable and hard to conceptualize just how much of England's history and landscape they managed to change during 1 century. And I cannot emphasize it enough as to just how big a single one of these artificial landscape parks are.
I went online and I put into Google, fast track into becoming a
As a frontman, Capability Brown gets all the credit, but he was just one landscaping leader operating within this larger Operation Earthmover. And a closer look at the historical literature and his records tell us everything we need to know. Contemporary correspondence makes it clear that Brown usually made no more than 4 visits each year to a particular site, often fewer. It was rather Brown's very capable associates who were responsible for much of what was created in his name. Brown's records show that by 1768, his profits had risen to £32,279, equivalent to many millions of pounds today, and that among his clients were half of the House of Lords. But they also show that there were many subcontractors, utilised to carry out his designs, highly skilled individuals that often supplied their own labour force. Subcontracting gave Brown the flexibility to respond to demand across the country. It enabled him to create a national landscaping business and rapid expansion. But as Williamson notes, Brown's books throw up a host of other names about whom relatively little is known. Many were apparently gardeners or nurserymen who were recruited locally, but who often then remained for many years in Brown's service. These were Brown's army of foremen, who he relied on to implement his plans to a high standard without close supervision. Men were recruited from varied backgrounds by these foremen. Sometimes estate labour was used to implement some or all of a design. Sometimes local labour was directly recruited. There were cohorts of surveyors and draftsmen ready to service the expanding market. The foremen often went on to become successful themselves, as was the case with Thomas White. He and his son went on to landscape more than 200 estates in Yorkshire and Scotland. Brown's foremen were trusted to such a high degree that when they encountered issues and had to change plan, they did so without Brown's approval. One account reports having to make a body of water 90 feet wider than Brown's original plan, of which the foreman concluded, "I think it will look well." As Finch writes, this is important evidence because it clearly shows that Brown's foreman was confident and trusted enough to take the initiative and had the ability to achieve Brown's overall vision, even when it meant adapting his plans. It also shows that the foremen were confident taking risks and not consulting Brown, even though they were working on estates that belonged to the country's most elite. Whoever these foremen or subcontractors were, they were trusted, knew exactly what they were doing, and were able to employ workforces readily. The whole thing reads like a tightly controlled inside job. Absences abound, in which the details are kept under lock and key. Even researchers acknowledge that there remain questions about how projects were approached, organised and directed. And it appears that a strategy of following the money is not going to provide us with the required understanding, as there are too many missing links. But when we dig more and look a little closer, we find a curious clue. In his analysis of Brown's remodelling of Harewood House and its landscape, Finch informs us that a year before Brown's first visit, a John Wooler of Whitby visited, producing a detailed design. Who was John Wooler? Well, originally a military engineer who had worked on several projects in the northeast. Aha, gotcha. If there was a significant and burgeoning landscaping industry, most of which was headed up by Brown, what is a former military engineer doing visiting sites and producing plans? Interestingly, when discussing the burial of the former medieval site at Harewood, Finch notes that the depth at which it was buried was considerably less than recommended by contemporaries and may reflect the urgency of the operation. Is that why a military engineer paid a visit? Was there an urgency to erase this site? It raises questions. Was the military involved at other sites? Was there a force above Brown orchestrating and directing this operation? Was secret or tacit military engineering technology used in re-landscaping the entire nation? A 1773 Act of Parliament suggests that something secret was certainly occurring. Parliament established a mechanism of road closure orders, creating perimeter belts around these sites, and which served to provide a measure of seclusion and privacy, as did the lodges which were erected at the gates of the larger parks. Parks removed the homes of local people and the fields of their labour from the polite gaze. Contracts drawn up when parks were created are sometimes quite explicit in this. They diverted and closed footpaths and roads. They wanted to be hidden. Was this to hide secret military involvement? Or perhaps to hide the act of heritage destruction? Perhaps they buried a lot more than we know at these sites while re-landscaping. And if you're having doubts about whether this wide-scale re-landscaping of England was indeed an operation, then consider this. These parks look like this today, but at the time they would have looked very different. Not only would each job take decades, but for a long time the earth would have been without grass. Most of the trees would have been very small. As Lady Shelburne wrote at the time, Brown's plantations were very young, but promising. It's generally accepted that many illustrations of the time imagined how the sites would look in the future. 18th century landscape gardens can now be experienced at a level of maturity that was never possible when they were first landscaped and planted. As trees have grown and matured, these gardens have taken on an appearance that their creators could only have imagined. What would it take to live on a construction site for most of your life, and to pay the landscaper significant sums of money to do so? Did Parliament bribe the elite with the Enclosure Act, allowing them to own more farmland and with the promise of a big return in the agriculture business in exchange for years of re-landscaping? If so, who was directing Parliament to do this? And why is Operation Capability Brown important? 1. It provides us with direct evidence that a tremendous portion of England's landscape is not natural, but was artificially created during the 18th century. Geologists, ecologists, landscape researchers, and archaeological evidence of cement layering all confirm this. 2. It provides us with evidence that there was an agenda to erase England's medieval history. It was destroyed and buried. Its water systems were reconfigured, and the architecture was replaced in the classical Roman style. It also provides us with another instance of military involvement in construction. And 3. Brown's landscapes provide us with hard evidence of earth moving and earth sculpture on an enormous and unfathomable scale. And it's this final point that has greater and more worrying implications. Something is wrong. Something doesn't feel natural. For years and years, archaeologists have dug through the earth, clearing the mud, on the hunt for the remains of previous civilizations, on a quest to uncover traces of history. Was centuries of soil accumulation always an accepted theory? In our present era of contradictory truths, the curious challenge this assumption. What if it isn't soil accumulation, but the results of a cataclysm, perhaps a mud flood? What unsettles you more, viewer? A cataclysm or a deliberate, wide-scale and almost unfathomable burial at the hands of man itself? Don't you find it curious that many archaeological discoveries occurred during the 19th century and after?
My powers are not a gift, but a curse.
What if the landscape at some of these sites was deliberately engineered this way?
I heard it too. I heard it too.
Sculpted.
That was weird, right?
Deliberately buried.
What's up, General
What if they
Sorrow?
aren't as old as we think they are? If you came to England and walked these parks, would you know they were artificial? Were these parks designed like this to stop archaeologists digging in these locations? Has an operation like this occurred elsewhere and in an undisclosed manner? It's very interesting that the ground seems raised in many
I'm making pizza bites right now. That's what I'm doing.
specific locations around the world. But this is not the same, and compared to Brown's landscapes, it seems child's play. Something is wrong, and it's tremendously worrying. The Earth Movers, our buried history.
Yes.
I'd like to show you something that might surprise you. This new classical style of architecture is a later rendition of the Palladian form. It is one of the most prevalent styles found throughout the Brown Parklands. A classical estate, summoning the spirit of Rome.
All right, Singe is back. All right. What's up, Singe?
Hey.
How you doing?
We're back for a little bit here.
Well, this is pretty much done.
Sites that
like 2
once
more minutes
existed in these very
for
locations.
this, and that's it.
But look closer. Really look. Can you see it?
You want
a hidden message encoded into the architecture.
You got a bunch of links and shit to go over, right, Singe? Or you gave them to me. I got to put them in the chat.
Self that perhaps only those in the know can truly
But I'm making pizza bites right now, so
understand. The bottom layer of this later Palladian style often features rustication masonry. Like Brown's Gardens themselves, rustication masonry creates the illusion of authenticity. The blocks are supposed to look rustic, antique, old, but they have been purposefully crafted this way. A symbolic and coded message in the architecture itself. The rustication here symbolizes the old, the former, the past, a hidden in plain sight mocking gesture to its medieval predecessor. We built ourselves on top of you, on top of the old. We now own the land, and you exist beneath us, and we will continue to dominate and squash you into the very ground below until you are no longer visible and belong to ancient history. They are telling us we know what's beneath because we buried it. And is that a stretch? Looking for coded messages in all styles of architecture.
Because they're often packed with religious codes and messages. So the first thing you notice with this entrance porch is that it's got 5 sides to the bay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And each side is 5 foot long. 3, 4, 5. 5 times 5, 25. That symbolizes the 25th of December, Christ's birthday, and the 25th of March, the date of the Annunciation to the Virgin Mary.
Perhaps it's not a stretch after all. And it really seems that the classical is full of symbolism and hidden messages. Blenheim, one of Capability Brown's finest landscapes. But look at the palace's ceiling, the all-seeing eye, the eye of the entity. I think it's time we took a closer look at this classical style and how it rose again.
Yeah. I'm making food right now. I'm working on it. I'm doing a million things. Can you flip those for me?
No.
Thank you, Nancy. All right. All right, give me a second. All right, so this is what I gotta do. I need a break. I gotta do a few things. So here we go. Hold on a sec. Yep. There's one. Studio. All right. 2. Three. See, we'll see how this goes. It might not work. It might. 4. All right.
To all the true mic holders, East Coast family, to all the 2-layer folders, Henry Baby's on the wheel, and DJ Days on the set. When the mic gets wet, the migraines might all proof. Sciatica nerve will shoot, painkillers won't do. Relentless mistake, I'm scientifically fit to a physicality. Well, anatomically, I be correct. And guess who's not next to jet? Too numerous. Bars, clients have been set. While others say slow down, the all kill down. The thriller, a filler. To NYC is who I be. Accelerator, the true relator to what be happening. Starbuck trap Nick. The honesty is equal to Ulysses as we lick these. I'm just combobulating like MC Breeze. Now you see, I'm on that old shit. Could you possibly fathom what the dome be equipped with? Rippable facts from the smokestack, giving cranial lumps for skills that you lack. I'm giving headaches as mics get wet. Now fools need to hold them brings as I set the dialect and I'll get check. The rest are old set. If you don't like it now, please push a check. I'm giving headaches as mics get wet. Now fools need to hold them brings as I set the dialect and I'll get check. The rest are old set. If you don't like it now, please push a check. I detonate and infiltrate your data files. You break wind and shitty up the mic and pops. One mic controller, whole stroller. When I breathe exhalation, it's like mental stimulation. I'm not about the GK shades of Puma's ways. I'm all about the L, pussy double. Mics and nights and mics you be after. Cause half the MCs sound alike. When they strike the mic, the outbreak is one take. Reaction, formation, on vacation. I create this ill penetration. My coolest words, curvature is spiral. Infecting MCs with meningitis that's vital. Rival, poets, throw shits like tags. Oh Lord, this pussy like rags. Now flow is bloody, increasing 10 packs to the core. Cause noggins get rocked from here to your block. I'm giving headaches as mics get wet. Now fools need to go to races. I set the dialect that I can check. So it's a whole set. If you don't like it now, please push your check. I'm giving headaches as mics get wet. Now fools need to go to races. I set the dialect that I can check. So it's a whole set. If you don't like it now, please push your check. My megaphone is quite hostile. Seeds be biting like crocodiles. And wow, I'll be that 5'9" guy with true green eyes, 10 sets, iron on pets. Monkeys is producing angry tracks and bats. My time will flashes is bound to find you. It seems so fucking lost. Kids can't find you. Stop. playing cable like Time Warner. Preposterous from larynx to esophagus. I project breath in depth. We're on top of this. We're on the bottom, cause girls I got 'em. Skull cat knocker, lyrically blood clot. The whole microcosm, digest the whole set. In the winter, it's fleece. In the summer, it's mesh like Iverson jerseys. I'm hard to get, giving cranial lumps as lights get wet. I'm giving headaches as mice get wet. Now fools need to decoder, rings and dissect the dialect that I can check. Correct your whole set. If you don't like it now, please push a check. I'm giving headaches as mics get wet. Now fools need to decoder, rings and dissect the dialect that I can check. Correct your whole set. If you don't like it now, please push a check. I get a deal. I'd rather speak upon overleaf cheek steel. It's the outer paper, not the caps out here. I use my independent money to pay the rent. Remaining hell bent. And fall from heaven sent. Where they went, the days when mics got destroyed. Bees just bored and soft punks got toyed. Unemployed was a happy-go-lucky MC. And now that's all they fucking be bringing to me. Where they went, the summer concerts on concrete. Elite could put 12 G's in the seat. Now I release the masterpiece of my music. It's 99 and no one can use it. They rather reuse it. The audience confusing. Take Chuck D's time out. Try to diffuse it. It seems that you gotta come cheap to compete. That's why when I choose to go deep, you go sleep on a verse. You're not gonna get at first. Like OJ would never ever get a hurts when he died. Think about the lies over lies. Converse about the hurt of this rap universe. The radical elements remain eloquent. The repercussions tear right through the fabric to act quick. Kids at the top is laughing. They trying to turn hip-hop to just plain rap. Let the poppers pop and the breakers break. Cause it's just so much of this shit that I can take. Now I can't stand the rain. This shit's all the same. Mr. E, excommunicate your whole game. Back in 88, baby, everything was gleaming. What meaning? You think you know what I'm meaning? Where your skills at? Where the ill raps? Where the new tracks? Where your heart at? Where the new jacks? Getting contracts. I got a rhyme that I ain't even wrote. Save the drama classes for the masses. Hip hop, glaucoma, baby, I prescribe the glasses. The business nearsight, the narrow mind, the whack shit that you hear, the song hate and fight. Take it light-hearted, fools act retarded. In 98 lyrics, just disregard it. Now how hard it be, yo, to really concentrate. Writing metaphors, whack shit, I annihilate. Now fools coming through spilling much gibberish. While Mighty Mountain I stay at Nicholas. Rap's a bedpan and I'll be the nurse. Removing shit with lyrics that I disperse. Nail your coffin, cause your death's epitome. Your fate be taken out is most likely. Not likely, we be the high and the mighty. Stomping out crews, the team of the 90s. What I'm meaning. You think you know what I mean? Gangstar and DOC Latin, the Dismaster, showing age, the crowd ruler, and Dilation, KMD, the Tough Crew, and JVC, the main source, the arsonist.
I stalk down the block, grabbing my job, scratch pops while I got for my red light stop. Dead right hops, I write rhymes for a living. Hit my misgivings when my brain was still missing.
Reading study while my boots muddy, so fucking filthy and Averex butters look bummy. Think out loud, cause I'm allowed. Stage dive in the crowd, the cannibals are about to smear across my eyebrows.
And God bless me with abnormal tendencies. Granted clemency for illegal chemistry. Ain't worth your weight in molecular structure. Out of work like JFK Jr. flight instructor.
Went looking for exits and tried to get my head fixed. Left with a perforated picture of Jimi Hendrix. Seeing these days, cages like 54 ways to get my fucking money. Mega seedless to play.
Sluts, gimmicks, ducks, you finish. This is dedicated for those medicated minutes.
Fuck, image, we stuck on spinach. In a second, you'll be checking in the fucking smart clinic.
Like sluts, gimmicks, ducks, you finish. This is dedicated for those medicated minutes.
Fuck, image, we stuck on spinach. In a second, you'll be checking in the fucking smart clinic. I ran up in the whack open mic cafe on stage. So many biters I performed in the shark cage and dark shades. During the Central Park raids, I walk out with a book of paper and a bag of beige. Friends, the camera lens, behind the shoelace. Get more upskirts than women, tennis for your face.
I'm fresh out the box like newborns. The chicken played with my monkey, now we making zoo porn. The MC's Yanni Christ like Damian Thorne. Eric the Pascal, Lance, so feel the scorn. Oh man, illest showman, my molded. With logic equal to 15 focus.
And I'm soaking, face looking blank. Shoot this little kid up with a horse trank and send him to the bank. Would it give me the funds though? Clips missing from the gun. If you can slap the bucket or split it with my guns. I shit on crumbs, got a couple thousand sons that all should have been wiped off from drugs or clogging lungs.
Every time I dabble, watch my life unravel. Did I miss an exit to the road that's travel? Transmit from the depths of the deepest basement. Through the pavement, up in the spaceships. Death Star creator, I orbit track boards. My appeal spans road scholars to slack jaws.
Sluts, gimmicks, ducks, you finish. This is dedicated for those medicated minutes.
Fuck, image, we stuck on spinach. In a second, you'll be checking in the fucking smart clinics. Like
sluts, gimmicks, ducks, you finish. This is dedicated for those medicated minutes.
Fuck, image, we stuck on spinach. In a second, you'll be checking in the fucking smart clinic. Yo, a peddler show, including allegiance. From Hawk to tattooing, you choose the season. Dialect for all these crews and legions. A walking contradiction like juice for Jesus.
I spit how the earth tastes and pass forms out of place. Galvanize my face and kill for breathing space. Nobody to trace. Open the trunk like the case. Like the L off of your body and sweep you in the face.
Yeah, I seen old timers became semi-thugs. I got more dizzy spells than Reginald Denny does. Cranium blower, say stadium goer. Hydro cultivator, turn uranium grower.
I'm not smut chancellor. Got vagina slippers for the floor. Show you when I sweat you call wifey hardcore. While I burn off the lip statue of all from. I'm down to shoot pop fucks cause I can't do it hard.
Sluts, gimmicks, ducks, you finish. This is dedicated for those medicated minutes.
Fuck, image, we stuck on spinach. In a second, you'll be checking in the fucking smart clinic.
Like sluts, gimmicks, ducks, you finish. This is dedicated for those medicated minutes.
Fuck, image, we stuck on spinach. In a second, you'll be checking in the fucking smart clinics. In a second, you'll be checking in the fucking smart clinics. In a second, you'll be chucking in the fucking smart clinics.
Yo, microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee. Microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee.
Was gonna rip out your heart, show it to ya. Homes I couldn't find it, plus you're mindless. Nicest during this time of crisis. You trying to see me, you just might become eyeless. Even if you rewind this, I dumbfound the wisest scientists, lights is spotless. Start to the end of us, these men venomous. Tremendous nemesis to your mere presence. Undefeatable, inject placebos. Where the tree grows is where the ego's. My ego's big too, ask your amigos. Megaton flasher, psychedelic thrasher, boom bap basher, translucent. I see through you too, you my student, the protege of the soul sonic. Who want it? Entice you an addict to my phonics. Pharaoh,
microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee. Microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee.
Hydraulic, your rhymes prehistoric to the most caustic MC, flame retardant. I've lost it, major frame damage. Better get Mako, cold member, survive Heaven's Gate and Waco too. Fondue you in your own cheese eon on Jumbotron, complete widescreen, burning up all the atlas with acid. Velocity, even Chris Carter couldn't catch this. I got your squadron with chronic head nodding. Practice calisthenics and prep regimens. The best medicine against any rhyme virus. Following the path of Isis and Osiris. Iris and retina. See through the hopeless. Spitting chronic halitosis, the dopest. This is evident. I shot my deafness. Pulling guns on critics like Wyclef did. I had black artists breaking. B-boys DJing. DJ spinning all linoleum pavements. Breakers writing their name in graffiti. Plus everyone wanna be a fresh MC.
Microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee. Microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee.
I wiretap mics, plug-in turntables. A glance is enhanced by advanced surveillance. Have you trailed by my associates? Solely the holiest, they detect you the phoniest. The story be untold, they broke the mold and burned the ingredients as etched on a scroll. Screaming in your grill, still subliminal, elegant with the illest intent. The hellbent outspoken with shit you be quoting. Slay aliens with this mic I be toting. Then rhyme over techno, defeat from my echo. Chop limbs, torsos, bodily morsels. Stay mind-boggling. You can't equate the essence of the turntable plate is a steak. Your finger paints, and I'm classic Greek sculpture. This mic toucher, leave your dome ruptured.
Microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee. Microphone mutilator, ill translator, dirty, decibel, qualified live, living to fight another day, rhyme spray, devastate your diagram in any melee.
All right, well, I've been going for a few hours. I'm getting tired. I'm about to end it. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I I guess we'll do this again tomorrow. You know, just getting tired. All right. So have a good night. Thank you, everybody who showed up. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let me see. I'm out of here. Peace.
What up? No face, no prints. You already know what crime it is. 211. Yo, crime is money, that's the name of the game. Just get paid, nigga, fuck the fame. Lay back and smoke me a pound. Then I compose a furious sound. Yeah, rest in peace, Killer Shy. Watch your back in these streets, do or die. And all I do is cash checks in. Wherever the money at, I'm headed in that direction. You should've known from the jump. Watch your body get blown from the pump. I don't sell crack no more, I sell bars. My 16's the price of luxury cars. Superstar in the hood, they love me. Never put a punk ass rapper above me. Put him beneath me, 6 feet deep. Fuck a rap battle, this is real street beef. Most definite, I'm the host wrecking shit. 1, 2, 1, 2, mic checking shit. Stop being greedy, jokes need a play too. Like that Russian told Rocky, I'ma break you. We 300 deep, wildin' in the club. Back pocket carrying black mask and glove. That's for the getaway, no face, no prints. No license plate, window dark tint. Thoroughbred nigga, you a mixed breed. I'm a V6 nigga, you a 6
homeless veterans with limbs missing, innocent victims put into prisons. Parents is pill popping, fiending for government prescriptions. A man homeless, feet full of fungus, dying with gangrene. Sleeping in garbage with rats, sipping the bottle of champagne. I put hatred on paper for pages. In this concrete jungle, we the animals, that's why they lock us in cages. Acquaintances and enemies acting like friends and fam, waiting to turn your body into the corpse of a dead man. Since I was a baby in the bib, my pops said most of the neighborhood murderers kicking it and playing cards in the crib. A good man, my big sister never preferred it. She grew up having crushes on gang members and men who have murdered. As a kid, life was my only teacher. I didn't play video games, I played chess with the Grim Reaper. I'm legendary, you just an imposter. The cops wanna mace me, I gargle mace like it's a spray of Banaka. True story, let me verbalize. My genetics is permanently polluted by poisonous government herbicides. Yeah, you don't want no parts of the war. I'm a bloodthirsty, hungry and starving, meat-eating carnivore. This New York City in your headset. You pussies leaving your pissy bed wet, begging and crying. Rugged man, is he dead yet? No.